Hello, welcome to Ben's SUV. Today we will be changing the coolant as well as the water pump and the thermostat on this 2002 ML320. This screw right here, I'm using an 8mm socket to loosen the screw. We should loosen this clamp, and then we'll pull this tubing out to let the coolant drain. The thing is, you don't want to be right in front of it, because I am literally right in front of it, and it may end up falling on you. So we'll likely get out of the way, hopefully, in time. So I'll start unscrewing this clamp. It's pretty easy to unscrew. Again, it's an 8mm socket. I'm going to screw it some more, because it looks like that clamp is not even moving. A little bit of a leak. Ready? Get out of there. There we go. Okay, I'm going to be using these two wrench and holder and wrench, I should say, to loosen the fan clutch, which is right here. It'll remove this fan and this clutch. I do have a video on it, so I'm not going to show that here. You can watch that video on when I did my fan belt replacement, or my serpentine belt replacement. So you basically, hold it in right here up with these three screws. You hold that in. They go into these holes. If I can Get that. Okay, and you hold it in nice and tight, and then you use this wrench to unscrew, which I already did. So and you keep doing it until it screws off. So I already did that, so I'm not going to show that here. I have here the Mercedes Benz water pump, model number A112-200150180. The ML320. We'll be using the flat gasket. It also came with this gasket. I don't know whether we're using that or not. And this is the new water pump, and I believe it will go like this. The bottom part, yeah. Obviously, need to remove these screws that are there. Yeah, it goes like this, I think. And obviously, we need to disconnect the pipes to remove all these screws. They're all different torques and whatever. What we want to do is make sure that when we take a screw off, that we know exactly where it goes. So what I am going to do is get a Sharpie marker and a pen. A Sharpie marker and a pen. And we'll tray on this cardboard box, or any box that you have, basically. Just trace this diagram out of the water pump. So that you know where the screw fits when you put it together. I'm going to hold on to this, make a hole, some of these won't even, I'm sorry, it literally won't even go in some of these. Gotta grab a thin pencil maybe. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna mark it from underneath. Obviously this big one is one that connects to the alternator. Alright, now that we've marked them, I don't have to, oh, there's one in the middle. So, Malcolm in the middle is one right here, one right there. We want to make sure that we, and this one goes, oh, okay, I see that one, and then I see one underneath. So you want to make sure that as you remove the screws, you put it back where they belong. Okay. Alright. I also bought a thermostat, so we'll be replacing that as well. Okay, what I've done so far right now is to remove the two 10mm ET10, so it's 10mm, bolts from either side of the thermostat. One is here and one is here. I couldn't get this out. I probably need some kind of a pick, a reverse pick, to get this out. But anyway, what I'm trying to do is first so after I remove the screws, I'm going to use a wedge to pry open the thermostat and then get that out and then remove this separately, while it's still hooked onto the thermostat. And then hopefully I should be able to get it out. I am going to put some rag down here so that any fluid that's left over there does not fall in on top of the hub and whatnot. Okay. Alright, now that I got the thermostat out by using a flathead screwdriver to wedge, I can go around. Probably need some kind of a, okay, I gotta get a bigger screwdriver, but you get the idea. I used a big flathead to wedge out the hose. You can see the gasket is still stuck here, so we need to remove this gasket from the inside, because the new one, as you can see, there's a new one right here, comes with its own gasket. And again, the model number of this thermostat is A112-203-0275. So this is the new one, made by Waller in Germany. So that's the new one that's going to get in. So it comes with its own gasket, so therefore we're going to remove the old one. And you want to make sure that all of it comes out. It's kind of stuck in there, I guess. It's been on here for like, I don't know, 120 miles. Actually, I'm sorry, 120,000 miles. I have no idea how to get this thing out. I'm afraid. Okay, it is coming out. Alright. Okay. Now we need to clean. I'm going to get a clean rag and clean it up. So, and then we'll move on. Okay. I cleaned out and I just put a little a rag to hold it in to prevent any more dirt or whatever from getting in. Obviously when I take the rag out, I'm going to clean it again before I put the new thermostat. Also, not having the thermostat makes it easier to remove all the bolts that are holding up the water pump. This is the idler pulley, I guess. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, I did a walkthrough of removing it in my other video, but basically you just have to remove the dust cover by sticking something in here. And I forgot what size it is, but I'll figure it out. But it's an internal, I believe it's in T10, I'm not sure. That, and after we remove that, after we remove this bolt, which is a long bolt, then I'm going to remove these 4 bolts that are on the water pump. I think it's a little tough to remove them because, you know, when you try to go left, this whole thing turns. So you have to somehow hold it and tilt it left, whatever. So we'll work on removing that. And obviously rebolting them is difficult as well, so we need to make sure that we tighten them properly. And then we're going to start working on all the other bolts for the water pump. Okay, by the way, this is the idler pulley. It's a long bolt and it's a T45. I just used a T45 to remove that. So I'm going to T45 Torx bit to remove that. Okay, so the 4 bolts that are holding this, I don't know what this thing is, but anyway, it's connected to the water pump. They're 10 millimeter, so I'm just using a 10 millimeter socket. All you have to do is you just hold on to the assembly, get the socket in place, hold on to it, and then give it a quick jolt, and they loosen up. That's 1, 2. I know I need one of these. Okay, 3. All right, and then basically unscrew, and that hub assembly will come off. Okay, so the water pump, the bolts that hold the water pump are a combination of 10 millimeter, ET10, ET12, and ET14. These are the only 3 sockets you'll need to remove all the bolts that are for the water pump. All right. Obviously, the one connecting to the alternator, which is this one, is an T14. So I'm just going to do a quick, over here what I'll do is I'll just do a quick, make sure I can loosen these bolts. Obviously I think we can tell some of these are, which ones are E10, this is E14, so I'm going to make sure that I can just quickly loosen them, you know, so I know that I'm not going to have a tough time removing them. I think the hardest one will probably be unscrewing the ones underneath, because you can't tell, but unscrewing the ones underneath the pump. All right. Alright, loosening up these bolts is not an issue. This one took a little bit of pressure to remove the 14 millimeter. The 12s were easy, and obviously I'm guessing the 10s would be easy as well. The hardest part right now is removing this hose, which is connected to the auxiliary pump or whatever it's called. I've unscrewed the clamp, but it's stuck in there. The bottom one, this one is the one that connects it to the radiator hose. That's not a problem because I disconnected it at the radiator, so there's no need. I can take it out with it, with that hose, so I don't have to worry about removing this one right now. But this is the toughest one to remove because it's very difficult to get in there. So I'll have to spend some time removing that hose. All right, so I'm gonna figure out whatever way I can to get in to remove it. Alright, this is what I've done so far. I've started to remove bolts. So remove the E14, which is the one that connects to the alternator. The E12s, I marked them on here. And these are E12s, and I started removing the E10s. I haven't marked them yet. So basically, as you can see here, remove the E14, the E12 here. This is the idler, the long one. Bolt. There's another E12 here, and then E12 removing the bottom. I know it's going to be very difficult to put it back in. You need some kind of view in there to make sure that your bolt is going back, and then it's actually connecting to the body. So when you go to put back, I suggest you put the big bolts in, so those get realigned properly, and then by default the E10 should get aligned. If you have some kind of a camera, I don't know, maybe use your phone. Put the phone like right here to make sure that I don't know, FaceTime with somebody, or if you have any of those action cams, and then you can remote view. Those will be very helpful to make sure that your screw is going in properly, since you can't see it. Other people have managed to remove the fan shroud here by removing 2 bolts. I tried doing that. I don't know, I can't find it, so I'm not going to try that, and so I just left it on. But I'm guessing it would be easier if you can remove this big, you get about 6 inches of clearance to go in, and with your arms to take a look and whatnot. But anyway, it is what it is. I had a tough time removing this. Don't use anything sharp because you will rip into the hose, as I did, and I got some silicone to cover that up. As you can see over here, I made a little hole. I'm sorry, I should show you. I made a little hole, and then I put some silicone, and I'm going to put another coating on it. I'm going to put another coating on it to make sure it's secure. That was a boo-boo on my part, so don't use anything sharp to try to get that hose out of here. Use a flathead screwdriver or anything flat, but anything sharp would tear a pinhole into that hose, so do not do that. Yes, it's time consuming. You got to go around, you got to remove all these bolts out of here, as I'm doing over here. So making my way all around to remove the bolts. Okay, thanks. Alright, I removed all the screws, and I just wedged this in between. So there's obviously some leakage straight out of the pump. Now it does have like this shark fin right here that is behind, so you somehow need to turn it down a bit, so that it somehow makes it through without breaking the. I tried disconnected. I don't know. I couldn't. I don't know what gets disconnected if I press it. But okay. All right. There we go. All right. Hallelujah is what we would say right about now, I guess. And I am taking it out with the radiator hose in tow, if it's not stuck anywhere. It's kind of difficult to remove this with the fan shroud. Holy crap. Okay, there we go. Alright. Alright, there's my ring. And installed in reverse. But I guess it turns freely. Here's the old gasket. So when I put the new one on, I want to make sure I put the new gasket on. I'm going to attach this cable back. Remove this, this hose. We're going to remove this hose and connect it back. Obviously, I'm going to do some cleanup in here. A lot of debris from up top. Yep, that's a mess. Moving the water pump. This is how it looks like inside. I guess I can use it to see where all the screws are and mark up stuff. So putting this back is kind of tricky. What I did was, here's the new water pump, and here's the gasket. It obviously doesn't stay, and the gasket goes through the screw holes. So what I did was I put one right here, one, it's a 12 millimeter, put it through the gasket and then mounted it in. And then I'll do on the other side is get the other screw to go into the gasket and then get that in. So at least this will temporarily, I may have to shift one of these. Obviously this needs to go behind the bracket for one thing. So right away I got an issue. I need to make sure that this goes behind the bracket. So I need to remove that, and I also need to make sure that this fin over here goes behind this. This is the temperature sensor connector, so I need to make sure that this fin goes behind it. Alright, so I'm going to remove it, make sure it goes behind the bracket, and make sure obviously that the gasket goes through the screw hole. So then if you can get a few of these aligned, the rest will stay aligned. Okay, this is my torque wrench. So the bolts that are the bolts that are 12 millimeter are 25 Newton meters. I don't know how the heck to read 25 off of this thing, so I converted it into foot pounds. There's help from somebody that I got off. So 25 Newton meters is 18.9 foot pounds. So I am going to, I guess 18.9. So it's 10. Okay, what the heck is that? It's 20, I guess. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, seriously, 0 on both sides? How the heck am I supposed to read that? Alright, he's coming close to 20. I guess that's 20. I mean, that's 19. It's 19. Although, I guess 18 and a half. So, and then I will use my torque wrench to all the 12s. So there's 112 here, there's 412, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to make those. Okay, that's one. That's what I need to do without the extension. There's one right in here. Okay, that's two. There's one all the way down here, which is kind of difficult to see. I have to come in from this angle. It's kind of visible from here. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then the last one is this one on top, which I will do that extension. That's right here. Okay. All right. God, I hope that torque is correct. Right, I've torqued all the bolts, the 10mm bolt on the water pump. Now the next step is to install the thermostat, which is right here, where I took out this rag. Just want to clean it once inside and then put it on. And it's just 2 bolts here and here, and screw those in tight. Alright, I put the new thermostat here. So again, screwing in those 2 bolts nice and tight. With the rubber gaskets is a nice seal with the body of the engine. The next step is I'm just going to put the top radiator hose, just leave it there. We still need to do the fan belt, I'm sorry, the serpentine belt. I don't know if I keep calling it the fan belt, but we need to do the serpentine belt. Tighten the radiator hose up here, make sure that the radiator hose down below is tightened. As you can see, it's still loose, it's not connected. And we should be able to put 2 gallons of distilled water to let that run, and then we're going to flush that one out. Alright, what we will need to do is to create a 50-50 formula of distilled water and the coolant, and we will start by putting 8 quarts in, which would be 2 gallons of the mixture 50-50, and then play around with 4 more quarts. I believe that the entire system takes about 12 quarts, but we're going to put in 8 and then see how it goes, and then put in afterwards. So at the end I need to end up with a 4-gallon mixture, because I'm going to be mixing all this together. So it's 1 gallon, 1 gallon, 1 gallon, 1 gallon. So it's a 4-gallon mixture. I'll only use 2. And I'm going to, I guess, hold on to the rest in case if there's any leakage or whatever. After we flush it out the regular water that I have in there. I just have regular distilled. I have 2 gallons of distilled water in there. Ran it for about 15 minutes. I'm going to flush that out and then put in the mixture. And you know, that'll be the final of the flushing. All right. I just want to quickly go over the tools that I used so you get an idea. You need a 3/8 inch torque wrench, right, to tighten all the bolts of the water pump. It's important that you have a torque wrench because you want it to be as tight as possible but not too tight. You will need 14mm was a E10 14mm ET14, I guess. This should be an ET12 and an ET10. All these 3 are used to remove the bolts of the water pump. You'll need a 10mm. I forgot what I used this for. Anyway, you'll need an external Torx. This is an E45. I'm sorry, a T45. This is used to remove the long bolt of the idler pulley. You'll need a 10 millimeter socket, and you'll need a 7 millimeter socket. That's to loosen the clamps, the screws of the clamps. You will need a 17 millimeter deep wall and a breaker bar. This is used to turn the idler pulley, I guess, for removing the fan belt, right? So you will need a breaker bar, something long enough to add enough strength, and this is a 17 millimeter deep wall. Let's see, a flathead is good to wedge out the water pump and the thermostat. Again, these are tools, these are special tools that I got to hold on to the hub of the water pump and then remove the fan. Obviously a new water pump if you're changing the water pump, and a new thermostat if you're changing the thermostat. That's pretty much, I believe those are all the tools. Thanks for watching.